Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the complex, powerful, and often heartbreaking journey of one of Marvel's most underrated sorcerers, the Runaway who became a leader, a lover, and a legend in her own right. Let's talk about Nico Minoru. Picture this. Every year, the Minoru family joins 5 other couples for what they call a charity event. Their kids, bored and curious, decide to spy on their parents one night. What could go wrong, right? Everything. Absolutely everything. Hidden in the shadows, young Nico watches in horror as her parents and their friends gather in strange ceremonial robes. The air feels heavy, charged with something ancient and wrong. A young girl enters, unknowing and innocent. And then, blood, a sacrifice, a murder. Nico's childhood shatters in that moment. These people, her parents, aren't who she thought they were. Truth is far more sinister. Disillusioned and terrified, Nico and the other kids make the hardest decision of their young lives. They run away from home, unable to reconcile the loving parents they knew with the monsters they discovered. But the revelations don't stop there. When Nico re-encounters her mother, something extraordinary happens. Her mother, wielding a large magical staff, the Staff of One, attempts to jam it into Nico's chest. Instead of harming her, though, Nico's body absorbs it completely, as if it were always meant to be hers. Later, when cut by Dale York's battle axe during a confrontation, the staff reemerges from Nico's chest in a blinding flash of light. Blood is the key. Nico can summon the staff only when she bleeds. With a single word, freeze, Nico casts her first spell, freezing Stacy Yorks in her tracks. The legacy of magic that runs through her veins is awakened. She rejects her given name, taking on Sister Grimm instead. A new identity, a new purpose. But the price of magic always comes at a cost. Every spell can only be cast once. Try to repeat a spell, and unpredictable consequences follow. Nico isn't alone in her discovery. 5 other teenagers, Alex Wilder, the strategic genius, Karolina Dean, who discovers she's an alien with solar-based powers. Molly Hayes, a young mutant with superhuman strength. Chase Stein, who steals his parents' technologically advanced gauntlets. And Gertrude Yorks, who shares a psychic link with a genetically engineered dinosaur named Old Lace. All learn the same horrifying truth about their parents. Together, they become the Runaways, a family forged not by blood, but by shared trauma and determination. They make a pact. They will stop their parents' evil plans. They will save innocent lives. They will never become the monsters who raised them. But the path ahead isn't straightforward. As they investigate their parents' organization, they discover they're part of a secret organization called the Pride, serving ancient beings known as the Gibborim, powerful mystical entities who promised the Pride that if they supplied annual sacrifices, 6 of them would survive when the Gibborim purged humanity and created a new paradise. The Gibborim require an annual sacrifice, a pure soul, to sustain them until they have enough power to reshape the world. As the Runaways prepare to confront their parents, betrayal lurks within their ranks. During the climactic battle, Alex, the boy Nico loves, reveals himself to be working with their parents all along. He had discovered the Pride's activities a year before the others, and believing in the promise of paradise, chose to side with their parents. Heartbroken, Nico refuses to join him, choosing her new family over her first love. The ensuing battle claims the lives of all their parents, who sacrifice themselves to save their children from the Gibborim's wrath. Alex himself is consumed by the very beings he sought to serve. The team's struggles continue as they're warned about a future threat named Victor Mancha. After investigating, they discover Victor is Ultron's son, a cyborg created as part of Ultron's plan to infiltrate and destroy the Avengers from within. But Nico sees beyond Victor's origins. Despite Chase's anger and distrust, she invites Victor to join the team, telling the others with fierce determination that she's willing to rip Victor's damn heart out if he ever betrays them. This is the first sign of Nico's evolution into the team's leader, making difficult decisions while remaining vigilant. The team faces another crisis when Chase, devastated by Gert's death during a battle, attempts to sacrifice himself to the Gibborim. Nico, interpreting his actions as a cry for help, leads the team to intervene. In a shocking twist, the Gibborim attempt to take Nico instead, revealing that her soul is innocent enough for their consumption. Victor rescues her, and the two begin a relationship in the aftermath. After escaping from Iron Man and S.H.I.E.L.D., who are attempting to apprehend them following the Civil War events, the Runaways make a deal with the Kingpin. This dangerous alliance leads to unexpected consequences when the team is time displaced to 1907 New York. In this strange time, Nico is kidnapped by a woman called the Witchbreaker, revealed to be her own great-grandmother. The family legacy of magic runs deeper than she ever imagined. Pain is power. The Witchbreaker teaches her through brutal methods. The more you endure, the stronger your magic becomes. Under this brutal tutelage, Nico's abilities transform dramatically. She learns to float freely in the air. Her spells grow more complex, more powerful. When she returns to the present, she's changed. Her command of magic more potent, but at what personal cost? She now carries the Witchbreaker's staff, an upgraded version of the Staff of One with additional adornments, suggesting greater power. However, her relationship with Victor suffers, as he falls in love with another girl during their time in 1907. This heartbreak adds to Nico's growing emotional armor. Nico steps into the role of leader, a responsibility she never asked for but cannot escape. She makes difficult decisions to protect her found family. She attempts to enroll Molly at the Xavier School's San Francisco campus, hoping to give the young mutant some stability and education. But this plan backfires when Molly is kidnapped by someone seeking revenge for the actions of her deceased parents. Undeterred, Nico tries again to create normalcy. She organizes a prom for her older teammates, hoping to provide an outlet for their growing sexual tension, especially after Victor lost Lily and Karolina lost Xavier, her Skrull fiancé. This effort also goes awry when Victor accidentally hacks into a naval air weapons base's radio signal, causing a craft to crash into their home. In the chaos that follows, Old Lace appears to be killed, and young Clara Prast, a plant-manipulating girl they brought back from 1907, panics, causing the house to become engulfed in a forest of uncontrollable vines. Nico tries various methods to calm Clara, but Chase, grieving for Old Lace, sabotages these efforts. Finally, Nico resorts to using magic to force Clara to calm down, a morally ambiguous decision that shows how far she'll go to protect the group. When Chase leaves the team after being hit by a car while chasing what he believes to be a resurrected Gert, Nico must decide whether to accept help from Chase's uncle, Hunter Stein. Wary of accepting aid that might alienate Chase and unaware of his hospitalization, she turns down the offer, putting loyalty above practical needs. The team eventually discovers that Old Lace isn't dead, but trapped in another dimension. When they travel to Avengers Academy seeking Dr. Hank Pym's help to retrieve her, conflict arises when Pym and Tigra believe the Runaways are unfit to raise Molly and Clara. Nico, unwilling to let her family be torn apart, uses a spell that allows everyone to see each other's memories, showing Pym and Tigra that Molly and Clara truly see the Runaways as their only family, while revealing to the Runaways that Pym genuinely wants to help them. After this resolution, Nico leaves the Runaways temporarily to reconnect with her biological family in Japan. During her cousin's wedding, she finds herself thrust into battle alongside Singularity, Medusa, and She-Hulk against a villain called the Antimatter. This brief team-up forms the short-lived A-Force. Chase, using the time machine that belonged to Gert's parents, attempts to go back in time to save Gert from dying. Though he fails to prevent her injury, he retrieves her body and brings it to the present, seeking out Nico for help. Using the Staff of One, Nico helped save Gert's life and set the stage for the Runaways' reunion. Gert, enraged to learn the team has drifted apart, rallies Nico and Chase to get everyone back together. Though initially reluctant, Nico realizes a profound truth. She doesn't have anyone else. And being with the Runaways keeps her good, keeps her from succumbing to the darker aspects of her magical heritage. When the reunited Runaways move into their new home, the underground main building of a place called the Hostel, Nico takes on leadership duties once more. To provide for the team, both she and Chase get ordinary jobs, a mundane contrast to their extraordinary lives. As Karolina deals with a breakup from her girlfriend Julie Power, Nico decides to act on her long-dormant feelings. The two begin dating, finding comfort and understanding in each other after years of shared experiences and hardships. Just as life seems to stabilize, Alex Wilder, thought dead, returns temporarily, heralding the arrival of the Seed of the Gibberim. These beings force the Runaways into house arrest for a week while they decide whether to follow through with the Pride's plan. During this confinement, the Staff of One forces itself out of Nico's body, revealing its true nature. It isn't just a magical instrument, it's actually a magician named the One, transformed into a staff by one of Nico's ancestors. When Mars aligns with Earth and the Sun, the One can return to human form for a few hours. Though Nico longs to be free of this burden, she can't. The One is evil, and she alone must keep him contained. They strike a new bargain. No more blood required to summon the staff, but each spell releases a sliver of the One's will into Nico herself. The staff will also stop trying to force its way out of her body. As always with magic, the price is steep but necessary. After defeating the Seed of the Gibberim, thanks to one of them, Gib, switching sides, Karolina begins experimenting with superheroics to find a sense of purpose. When Nico discovers this, she eagerly joins her girlfriend in this new venture. Together, they patrol the streets of Los Angeles in custom superhero costumes and attempt to create their own identity beyond the shadow of their villainous parents. Their activities catch the attention of a local hero named Doc Justice, who welcomes the Runaways into his manor after they're forced out of the hostel by public drainage work. Under Doc Justice's wing, the Runaways operate as a new version of his former squad, the J-Team. Nico adopts the name The Gloom, embracing her magical abilities as a superhero identity rather than running from her heritage. But Doc Justice harbors a terrible secret. For 50 years, he's been orchestrating the deaths of his young protégés to sensationalize his superhero life and boost his own fame. When Gert uncovers this truth, she convinces Doc Justice's son to interrupt a staged mission where Karolina is being drained of her solar energies by Doc's ally, Ashley Pearson. When Doc Justice meets his end at the jaws of Old Lace, Nico faces her greatest challenge. Karolina lies dying, drained of the solar energy that sustains her. The Staff of One, Nico commands the sun itself to rise, a powerful spell that saves Karolina's life, but undoubtedly releases more of the One's influence into her own soul. The team returns to the hostel with their spirits crushed by Doc Justice's betrayal. Nico stays by Karolina's side as she recovers from her ordeal. During this time, she confides in Karolina about the new arrangement with the One, but refuses to discard the staff. It defines her, she says, and remains useful despite its dangers. When the Magisdanian Light Brigade arrives to help Karolina heal, offering to temporarily take her for treatment, Nico faces another difficult choice. Despite her reluctance to be separated, she lets Karolina go, prioritizing her girlfriend's health over her own desires. Though Karolina invites the Runaways to join her, Nico declines, believing the team needs stability after all they've been through. In a final act of trust and hope, she hands the Staff of One to Karolina with instructions to destroy it, attempting to break free from the magical legacy that has defined and haunted her life. If you're a fan of Marvel Snap, you might have encountered Nico Minoru as a playable card. Her ability in the game is brilliantly designed to capture the essence of her comic book powers. On reveal, after you play your next card, cast a spell. The spell changes each turn. There are 7 different spells that can't repeat, mirroring one of the most defining limitations of her Staff of One in the comics. Nico can only cast each specific spell once. The changing nature of the spells each turn perfectly represents how Nico must constantly innovate and find new words of power for each situation. The randomness captures the sometimes chaotic nature of her magic, especially during her early days with the staff, when she was still learning its capabilities and limitations. Even the trigger mechanism, activating after you play your next card, reflects how Nico's magic often responds to situations reactively. In the comics, she frequently has to quickly formulate spells in response to immediate threats or challenges, much like how players must strategically pair her card with another to maximize the value of whatever spell she casts. While the game doesn't capture her initial need to bleed to summon the staff, the core essence of her magical abilities, creativity, non-repetition, and adaptability, is brilliantly translated into game mechanics that both honor the character and create interesting gameplay decisions. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Who do you want me to cover next? Let me know in the comments. Until next time.